Reading 1. What is feminist psychology? Feminist psychology is a branch of psychology that focuses on the psychological experiences of women and gender or mental health. 2. How does feminist psychology differ from traditional psychology? Feminist psychology emphasizes the impact of social and cultural factors on women's mental health, whereas traditional psychology often focuses on individual factors. 3. What are some key concepts in feminist psychology? Key concepts include gender roles, power dynamics, intersectionality, and social construction of gender. 4. What is important to study psychology from feminist perspective? Studying psychology from feminist perspective helps to address and challenge gender biases and inequalities in mental health research and practices. 5. How does feminist psychology address issues of power and oppression? Feminist psychology examines how power and oppression affects women's mental health and advocates for social change to promote gender equality. 5. What role does intersectionality play in feminist psychology? Intersectionality considers how multiple social identities, race, class, sexuality, intersect to shape women's experiences and mental health. 7. How does feminist psychology view the concept of mental illness? The feminist psychology critiques traditional view of mental illness and emphasizes the role of social and cultural factors in shaping mental health. What are some common research topics in feminist psychology? Common research topics include gender differences in mental health and impact of gender-based violence and the mental health effects of gender inequality. 9. How can feminist psychology be applied in therapy? Feminist therapy focuses on empowering clients, addressing social and cultural factors, and promoting gender equality in therapeutic settings. 10. What are some challenges faced by feminist psychologists? Challenges include overcoming gender biases and research, addressing intersectional issues, and promoting social change within the field of psychology. My opinion. I'm referring to female psychology as the behavior of those who are physically, genetically, psychologically, and energetically women, not those who identify as a women without being so, and gender invasion that only confuse today's generation. The feminist thinking of today is far from its early origins, where the fight was for equality of rights and opportunities that were not given in that old macho society. Although there may still be remnants of that machismo in some parts of the world, and it is not necessarily seen as oppression. The treatment of women in those societies, for example, in Islamic societies. Today's feminist movements are driven by powerful groups that want to dismantle traditional families and ignore the necessary and indispensable role of masculine energy. Book reading. Selling is not something we choose to do. It is all we know how to do. We are incapable to stopping it. We have become our planet's dominant species because we have perfect selling more than any other species. If you shy away from this principle, I know how you feel. I still feel that twinge of hesitation when I say I am selling, but selling is all there is in life. Rather than running from it, we must get good at it and learn how to sell the truth. As natural-born sellers, it makes sense for us to gain a deeper understanding for what selling is and is not. Our entire world has been built by selling, and our selling methods shape our world in every way, meaning that if your selling method is deceptive, we are shaping our world with deception versus telling the truth to shape the world in a positive and productive way. The selling habits designed for selling lies that are normally taught in typical sales training are unnatural. Our true selling skills are natural and designed for selling true. These natural and essential selling skills are advisory in nature. They have been buried under a pile of unnatural behaviors composed of tactics, techniques, triggers, tricks, and traps that distort the natural selling process and make it more difficult. As a result, many people think of selling as a somewhat degraded activity relegated to a few professionals who are trained in this frequently suspect field that develop a mastery of manipulation and are not to be trusted. Like actors and athletes, selling agents are performers, and since we are selling, we are all performers regardless of what we sell. When I use the word agent, I mean agent of change. When an agent shows up, things change. The difference we make with one another and in our world can be measured by the amount of change that is created. You might remember a high school chemistry experiment where you learn about catalytic agents. The teacher would mix two chemicals in the beaker where they coexist without incident until the teacher poured in the catalytic agent. This agent poured and other two chemicals into action, and soon they become something new. However, the catalytic agent remained separate from whatever new things was created. Similarly, as selling agents, we engage in relationships with people concerning new ideas, relationship, products, services, and assets. When we do this as an agent of change, we cause a catalytic reaction between the people we are working with and what they are buying. Selling agents are not changed by the transaction, but without them, the transaction could not take place. Choose who to be. Choosing who to be. More often than not, people observe the facts in front of them and develop an interpretation of those facts, which is a history about the facts and not the facts themselves. Therefore, all histories to some degree contains lies that forms our perceived truth. History can be defined as a body of interpretation based on past experiences that shapes our views of the future in a way that limits our action in the present. This is called subjective reality. Whenever we build a story about the facts of our situation, it tends to be negative and highly inaccurate. When we separate ourselves from our story and look only at the facts, we are in objective reality. But facts by themselves rarely provide the inspiration needed to generate something new. To do that, we must step beyond the facts into what is more creative reality based on the truth on what can be. Only in this creative reality can truth be found, and it is not based on past experiences or limited to the facts themselves. It takes courage to sell truth that will speak a new reality into existence, regardless of the evidence. To do this requires that we stay on the edge of the illusionary thinking in order to ever get close to the truth. Because people live in and die trapped inside their interpretations of the facts, their history becomes the lie that keeps them from discovering the freedom that only the truth provides. From truth, we can change the results we achieve by changing our actions. The only way to significantly change our action is to change who we choose to be. Who we get to be depends on what we are selling to ourselves, as shown in the illustration below. Sometimes a person is being a wimp, gives us easily, hesitates to complain, and knows all the answer about how things won't work. Other times a person becomes a victim who blames others, complains about everything, and knows a lot about how tough things are. But most of us end up being the bozo who pretends to be doing what it takes, claiming to know enough when we in fact do not. Some are players who choose to at least do a minimum required. Others step out and risk being a fool only to become a champion or master.